Hi everyone. Now listen, today we are going to talk food. What are we giving these girls? What is it all about? Feeding sheep, why is it so important? All of that. So you've been watching my videos now all through the year. You saw when we put the rams in, they went into a lovely lush green field, didn't they? And I said it was important that we just kept good grass in front of them from that point on. Essentially, sheep are just grazing animals. Grass is good enough for them. So long as there's enough for everyone to have their fair share, grass is perfectly fine and perfectly adequate for use when they're being mated. So long as they're already in the good body condition score to start with, of course. In mid-pregnancy, grass, good quality and large amounts of it is absolutely fine. Grass is the ultimate food for our sheep. After all, they're a ruminant. They have 4 stomachs designed specifically to get the most that they can out of grass. So early pregnancy, mating, mid-pregnancy, totally fine just to have grass. The problem happens when you don't have grass, when you have nothing but bare fields. And that can happen. You know, food supplies can run low if we have a really wet autumn and all of a sudden, instead of grass, and it's mid-pregnancy, or in the summer when you're trying to get them pregnant and it's early pregnancy and mating time, if there's no grass, then we have a problem. So in early pregnancy, if there's no grass, I mean, we had fantastic grass this year, didn't we? But if there's no grass, then the ewes just won't ovulate and they won't get pregnant. Or if they do get pregnant, then they'll soon shed that egg. It'll be reabsorbed and they won't maintain their pregnancy. And if they're not in good body condition score to even start with at mating time, then, you know, there's no chance of them even getting pregnant. They won't even ovulate. So long as there's grass and they're in good body condition, that is perfectly fine for mating time, for mid-pregnancy. If there's no grass for mid-pregnancy, then what happens is they will lose their lambs, basically. All the lambs will be very, very small and sort of underdeveloped. Then, now we're talking late pregnancy, which is like now. So, late pregnancy. What are the feed requirements of our ewe in the last 4 weeks and why? Well, all of a sudden grass is not enough. And that's when we bring them in. As you can see, they've got here a selection. You know, we like the best for our ewes. Hay, and then at the fronts, where they've got their heads through, that's where they're eating the silage. They've also got straw bedding. And as well as all of this, we are giving them more. We are giving them concentrates in the form of ewe rolls, okay? How much concentrates all depends on the number of lambs. Now this shed is divided into groups. So I'm going to talk you through each group. That far group there, twins. We are now 1 week before lambing, as well as unlimited silage, hay, and straw that they can nibble from all the bales around. They are also getting 0.8 of a kilo of concentrates, and that is split over 2 feeds. So 0.4 of a kilo in the morning, 0.4 in the afternoon. The next pen next door, they are also twins. So they're getting the same. 2 feeds a day that total 0.8 of a kilo of concentrates. We split it into 2 feeds, otherwise they can get an upset tummy, basically. Once you get over 0.5 of a kilo, you should always split the feed into 2. So we've got 2 pens of twins, and then here we have triplets and skinnies, as I like to call them. So they could be having a twin or a single, but they're skinny. I body condition scored them 4 weeks before they've given birth, and I have said you are too thin, You're going in the triplet pen and you're going to have the best ration possible. They're getting 1 kilo of concentrates as well as unlimited silage and unlimited hay. So that's split into 0.5 of a kilo or half of a kilo in the morning each and half of a kilo in the afternoon each. Then around the corner, we have our singles and they go all the way back to the back of the shed, which you can't see there. There's quite a lot of them. Now I might go down a bit lower for those. Just excuse me while I don't kill myself climbing down. Okay, here they are, single girls, the single ladies. So these girls are getting the unlimited forage, so the silage and the hay. And they're also getting concentrates in the form of U-rolls like all the others, but just not as much. So they're getting 0.5 of a kilo or half a kilo a day. And that is, we're splitting that into 2 feeds because they get jealous, you know, because they only have to look over here and they see everyone else getting 2 feeds a day. So even though we don't have to feed them 2 feeds a day, we do. So we split it into 0.25 each. 0.25 per head each. And how are you going? What do you think about the ewe ration? Flopsy? Hey? Is it satisfactory? What are you doing? What have you got in your mouth? You're eating a bit of wool, you silly sausage. You say you're doing very well and you've gained lots of nice weight, haven't you? Yes. So, that is what we're doing. Why? Why are we giving them this extra food? Well, take a look at this girl here. She is enormous. She has 3 babies. She can barely breathe. You can see that. She's panting. If I get behind her, I don't know if you can see just how much that tummy of hers is sticking out on both sides. Now, for our triplet ewes, they physically can't eat enough food. The lambs are taking up too much room in her tummy. In the last 4 weeks, the lamb grows 70% of its body weight. It does 70% of its growing in the last 4 weeks. It's been in there for 4 months, just ticking over, growing tiny, tiny, tiny amounts. And then it's like a gigantic push in the last 4 weeks. So it's a huge demand on the ewe's body. She is putting an enormous amount of food so that her lamb will do most of its growing, and they're taking up too much space. So she physically cannot eat enough. Oh, look at her tummy now, can you see? So what we're doing is we're giving her a very energy-dense, small, concentrated, dense form of protein to help with that energy demand. You know, she only has to have her kilo of concentrates a day, and that more than helps. You know, what it means is she's going to have a good-sized lamb, not a small lamb. She will have good-sized lambs, 3 good-sized lambs. She will have lots of milk. She will have enough energy to go into her milk production, and it will be creamy and thick and high quality. And the lambs that are born will have lots of brown fat reserves as well, which means that as soon as they're born, they've got energy to get up and to want to suck their mum's teats to survive. Oh, look at the twin. She's enormous as well. So she was a bit thin, so I put her in. But you know what? She looks bigger than a triplet, doesn't she? Just enormous. Excuse me, girls. Can you just be quiet on the old scratching over there for a minute? Thank you. So that is why we feed ewes concentrates in the last 4 weeks, because that's when the lamb does most of its growing. That's when we can determine the size of the lamb, we can determine the quality of the milk, and we can determine the vigor of our lambs. So what problems happen when we're feeding heavily pregnant sheep? Well, they physically can't eat enough. That's a problem. And they need a lot of space to be able to feed because they're so wide towards the end. And, you know, they can't always eat what they need to eat. which means then we'll have small lambs, we'll have low milk production, we'll have weak lambs as well, and then you're fighting an uphill battle. Once they've given birth, which is where we head, dun, 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 over to here. Hello, how are we? And we have babies. Hello. Hi, Mum. So what are we giving our lactating ewes? This is a ewe that has given birth and has had a cute little baby. Yes, you. We're talking about you. Well, what we do is, this is the most demanding phase, actually. Heavily pregnant, yes, but then producing the milk to feed all these babies, the most energy demanding. We give them 1 kilo a day, so a half a kilo in the morning of concentrates, a half a kilo at night, and in the pens, we just give hay. So as you can see, we've got hay in the hay racks. The reason why we just give hay is it helps to firm up their poo a bit. They're not limited by what they can eat in terms of space. Can you please be quiet? Thank you. So, because they don't have lambs inside of them, they can eat a bit more. They've got more room. So we feed hay and we get a firmer poo. So it's not like sloppy in the pen. It's much nicer hygiene. And it's really easy because we made little bales. There's a bit of one there. So we just grab a wad. It fits neatly into the hay rack and marvellous. So we give them unlimited amounts of hay. They've got their water, which we're refilling in the buckets. I can keep an eye then on that they're drinking enough water. Oh, are you tired? It is late at night. I know. Oh, look. You're getting all that hay dropped on you. Hello. So we keep on feeding our ewes concentrates at that level for 4 weeks. They reach their peak and then the grass can take over and it's okay again. And grass is perfectly fine up until she gets pregnant and she's 4 weeks before giving birth again. So that is the circle of life and feeding sheep. And once they've raised their lamb, and they're having their rest time between feeding a lamb and getting pregnant and having another lamb. Once again, grass all the way through. If there isn't enough grass for our dry ewe, then they can end up very thin because you haven't helped them to regain their body condition from feeding the lamb, because they will be thin after they've raised their lamb for 4 months. And feeding them. And while grass is fantastic, they will lose a bit of body condition. So we've just got to make sure that we've got good grass for them, which makes sense, really. And last of all, before I go, I just wanted to show you my intensive care pen over here. So, you know, it's all luxury here. We've got old sheets to stop any draft. Drafts are lamb's enemies. And this little lamb is very precious. It was born this morning. The mummy's a triplet, as you can see. And hello, little cutie pie. There you are. We've got the heat lamp deluxe model as well. And we've got a very happy, very healthy little lamb now. It wasn't the case this morning. Its 2 siblings were born alive but died within a half an hour. Their lungs... You know, we're still on premature time here. We're not due. And the lungs weren't developed. And so they died. But this one I managed to get breathing and get going. It's had steroids, which have helped amazing in just a few hours. And now I've got a perky little lamb that is in a bit of a milk coma. I mean, look at the mum's teats. Can you see that? She has so much milk. The lamb literally latched on, sucked for about 3 minutes and just went, oh my God, I'm so full. She has, you know, great milk production. For her lambs being a little bit early, for all of them being a bit early. But, you know, this weekend is what we're counting down for. And then it's going to be very busy indeed. So I'm gonna sign off now. and leave you to do your task 6 about feeding sheep. I've given you all the information. You can look up stuff if you want on the internet to back up what I've told you, but you've got the gist. So I think we're just going to zoom in now. Hello, are you going to say goodbye to the students? Are you going to say goodbye? Oh, it's all snooze time here. We'll let the mum say goodbye.